Hello, one and all, and welcome back to LOE Formula 2. This is the season finale of Season 4 in LOE F2 Division 1. This is going to be the Austrian round of the season, and so we're going to get things underway very, very shortly. So, with the 9 rounds of the season behind us then, just one more to go then, we're now raring to get racing one last time in LOE Formula 2. So, after 9 long and grueling rounds for all of the drivers, then the championship still hangs in the balance going into the final round. We are down to 2 contenders. Those are going to be, of course, the double champion and championship leader Toxic MML. He has all but wrapped up the title, but it is not done just yet. He still needs to see it over the line. Putting him under threat still into this final round is QVR Verstappen, who has 40 points adrift with just 46 points on offer. So it is a real uphill battle for the Dutchman. He's going to need to drive pretty much perfectly. In fact, I can tell you that only once has a driver scored more than 40 points in an individual round throughout the season. That is the pressure on this man now to deliver. But you can sense Toxic is still a very, very heavy championship favourite going in. And so we have 15 drivers lined up. We'll get underway very, very shortly. Of course, Austria first up, one of the shortest tracks on the entire season calendar. And then we're going to run through the two 50% races then. The feature race first up, and then the shorter sprint race thereafter. And that is going to be how this season will be defined. We can then get it underway then in just a few seconds time. So we're going to get things started. And so, as you mentioned there, that championship standings, the constructors has also been a back and forth battle, but Univirtuosi have managed to come through. They have been pretty dominant in the back half of the season. They have won the constructors championship ahead of HWA, who have also pretty much wrapped up second place over High Tech. Those two drivers have had very consistent results across the season. In fact, they're both tied for fourth place in the standings on 200 points apiece heading into this final round. And so now we'll be getting readied up very shortly. I have to say, this is also going to be my final race as a commentator for LOE Division 2. Sorry, Formula 2, not Division 2, my apologies. It has been an absolute privilege over the last 2 seasons. So let's go out with a bang. Let's make this last one the best one yet. And so we're still waiting to get readied up then. We are at the moment on the hour. We should be getting underway very, very shortly. And so we're going to get things underway then. A few little loose ends to tie up, of course, throughout the end of the season. And then we can put this behind us. Of course, Season 5 will be on the way very, very shortly thereafter. I think it's only 2 weeks away from now, so you can get excited for that. One of the main things to look out for is, well, first and second of the championship are all but wrapped up. There is an immense battle where QVR Campbell, who occupies P3, has got a decent margin. But from 4th down to 7th is covered by 8 points in Miami and Larkin on 200, Rocco on 193, and Sweet Crown behind that on 192. Incredibly tight amongst those guys, and I'm sure that is going to go all the way down to the wire. We look to now be slowly but surely getting readied up into the session. One-shot qualifying will be first up on the agenda, and of course then thereafter we're going to be heading into the first race decided by that qualifying grid around Austria. Of course, a very short circuit, only 10 corners around one lap of this Red Bull ring, and then the grid will be defined. And going into the race, well, qualifying pole position, it's all well and good, but you can still certainly lose out on that because DRS so powerful when it's going to be activated at the conclusion of the 3rd lap. And so we're just waiting for the countdown to be commenced. We're going to hopefully make this a fantastic night of racing heading into it yet again. And so now, as we get raring to go for one final time here in LOE Formula 2, let's get into it. We get ourselves loaded in now to the session, and we can get this night underway. So it is, of course, that one-shot qualifying first up. We'll see who's going to grab that all-important pole position. The championship may well be wrapped up in just about 20 minutes' time. We'll see. Qualifying will take a step towards that for Toxic MML. He cannot, as he did last season, wrap up the championship going into the final round. Or qualifying for the final round, but he can certainly do that in the feature race. Let's see what happens there. And so now we get loaded in, guys, for the final one-shot qualifying session of the season. And these one-shots have been dominated predominantly by the two Univirtuosis. XL Lando's also had a good few runs at it as well throughout the season, although he's not, oh, he is present here tonight, my apologies. But those three dark drivers have really stolen the show in terms of the one-shot qualifying. We'll see who is going to be on top then for the last time in the season. We wait for the last couple of drivers to get ready up, and now we can get things underway then. For one final time, we go aboard with championship leader Toxic MML to run a solo lap, then a hot lap here at the Red Bull Ring. Getting onto the brakes, and again to turn one to start the lap, then clipping the car on the inside, and running up on the outside, open up that DRS then for the second time in a lap. Then you're going to head uphill to the left kick of turn 2, and you continue that ascent, heading in to turn 3, getting onto the brakes in the second gear, hooking it through the apex, and then critical to get on that throttle nicely through the exit and open up that DRS, getting ahead, powering down towards the fourth corner on the lap, then using the curb slightly on the outside to get it stopped and turned in second gear again. Now exiting, punching through the exit and out to the high speed section of the track, then through turn 5 is easily flat out. Turn 6 though, bit of a tap of brakes in the third gear, hooking it middle of the road, skimming into the apex, then early on the throttle. It's all important now, commitment throughout these last few corners, hooking it into that turn 7 and 8, punching through the exits. Now you can see it's Verstappen and Campbell 1 and 2 at the moment. Toxic trying to chase those guys down now with just 2 corners to go downhill through turn 9, and now approaching turn 10, clipping the car on the inside up to the outside again, and it's going to be incredibly close to a road position, but QVR Campbell will snatch it by just over a hundredth of a second. Wow, the margin's so remarkably close, but it was in the end QVR Campbell that rose to the top, and he is looking to try. I actually talked to him before the race. He wants to get his 4th feature race victory, which would be the most of anyone. He leads Verstappen, Toxic, and look at how close it is between those top 3, less than a 10th separating the 3 old faces of LOA Formula 2. XL Lando comes through at P4, Sweet Crown is 5th, Matthew 40 P6, Larkin, Nolan, Rocco and Josh are at the top 10 in the final grid of the season. Zauber is P11 from Gary, 12 Safian, Dylan, 10 can round out the time setters, and then XL Miami behind that then, who didn't get a valid lap time, and he's going to have to try and work his way through come the race. It's incredibly tight at the top then. Campbell edges it to pole. Verstappen does out-qualify Toxic. Neither of them do get those 2 points. So now we head into the final race, the final event, the penultimate race of the season here in LOA Formula 2. So now we are all set up, ready to go. 16 drivers then are going to share the track for one final time, and we're going to see how the final championship order is going to be defined. Is it going to be Toxic's day? He only needs to score 6 points from today, and he will be champion. So you sense that QVR Verstappen faces such an uphill battle. He's going to give it everything. He nearly snatched pole position, wasn't quite to be, but he is going to be on that front row and looking to make a statement, make a splash, try and snatch up a race victory out there on the road. He has won a feature race earlier on in the season, and so he is going to try and use that to good effect and that experience that he's built up throughout the LOE Formula 2 Season 4 Championship. Now we get things ready to go for the feature race and the final feature race of the season. So let's see how we stand. Can see then Campbell leaning away from the grid. Let's look at some of the tyre choices then. Bit of a mix up throughout the field actually, but interesting to see. So Toxic I think is a real standout then up the front on those soft tyres. Then the super softs are also available. It's a relatively low tyre deck circuit, and so Northern strategy is an interesting one to go for, but Toxic going for softs then. the championship with them. Then Sweet Crown and Matt T40 also going for those soft tires. NSX Rocco, Josh, and at the back, Miami have also opted for the Red Bulls. Everyone else on those super softs, including both the guys in the front row. But three people inside of that top six going for that alternate strategy. We'll see what they can do with that then, going throughout. Also want to note then, Miami, who holds 4th place in the driver standings going into this race. Starting from the rear of the field, he's going to have a lot of work to do. His teammates up there, but also we've got Sweet Crown right up there. He wouldn't went out in that battle for P4 in the standings, which is still sensationally close. Those 4 drivers are going to be going it right down to the wire. I'm going to take a quick drink break before we get into the race. Campbell leads the way for Verstappen alongside him. Who's going to lead in turn 1? Who will take the final sprint race, feature race of this evening? 20 laps ahead of us. Let's find out who's going to come out on top and cross that checkered flag first after 20 laps of the Red Bull Ring. It is 9 down and 1 to go. Up to the grids goes QVR Campbell. Verstappen will join him on that front row. We'll see who gets the best start for the front of the grid then. As for the last time in the feature race, the qualifying grid is going to be settled. And then we can get the penultimate race of the season going underway then. Campbell up front of the grid then as the lights come on for the final feature race on the championship. We have 5 lights. And we're away here in Austria. Campbell gets an excellent start for the front of the grid then. Verstappen covered off then. And down the outside then to the inside goes Lando trying to slop through front of Toxic and runs around the outside. Gets forced out wide then. Coming in at turn 1 and Lando gets the jump on it then. And now the championship leader is on the threat then. To the outside looks Sweet Crown. To the inside looks Lark and 3 drivers fighting for the same piece of tarmac. Lando going to face him from the offences. Oh, Toxic in the middle. Runs around the outside. Couldn't quite make it work there. Lando holds P3 then. Toxic tucked in right underneath it, heading towards turn 4 then. He's got them all lined up, pulling up to the outside line then. Can he draw alongside it, going late on the brakes? Then it's Toxic. Can he run round the outside? He's running out wide though, and through to the inside. Then Logan trying to get alongside, forced onto the grass by the double champion, who's able to just about keep a hold of that 4th place with Larkin straightening. Then you can see them both slowing in. Further back to the order, Sweet Crown is able to tuck it behind XL Larkin, who gets right up to the back of Toxic. The soft tires going to be running on compromised grip. Still, not quite relenting. You can see Toxic holding up P4 at the moment, and there was penalties down the field for Safin. He's got attack from XL Miami. Goes diving down the inside, going into turn 9. We'll take a hold of that 13th place up the road then. And we're going to see these guys there looking in line. Larkin looks very feisty on the rear wing of Toxic, heading through turn 1. Toxic will do enough to hold on for the moment, gets a bit of oversteer through the exit, and Larkin now will look to try and get up to him now. No DRS of course just yet. Further down the road then, Matty 40 slotting through on SX Rocco, gets himself then moving up the order and up into I think around about 6th position, 7th place on the road for the moment. Nolan just in front of them, gets alongside and to the inside of Sweet Crown 19, and they run parallel down the main straight, heading into turn 4, but Nolan has claimed the inside line, will run his way through, and at turn 4 runs wide, though it's alongside through turn 5. He's going to have to run the long way round turn 6. Can yet be bonus points car to it, right around the outside. Will be held by Nolan, parks it on the apex and will keep it hold at P6 for the moment out there. So Nolan moving up the order, he's going to try and chase down the drivers in front then. Larkin still holding Toxic, the race leader is moving clear up in front then. Campbell holding firm then from QVR Verstappen. P2 then, Ladzo currently holding on to P3 in the moment as the old slot head to turn 10 for the second time in the race. The DRS will be activated, and for the first time heading in at turn 3, that is when we're going to see it in action. Campbell still leads the way out there, bit of oversteering through turn 1. DRS now enabled for QVR Verstappen, but I don't think he's quite going to be close enough then. But look at Larkin Searching on the rear wing of Tox, doesn't quite get through that. Sweet Crown fending back to Nolan. Round the outside of turn 3, Nolan face back. Diving daringly through the apex. Can he get it stopped and turn? And he can. And then Matthew 40 gets alongside the MP as well. But Slithers going to either side of the track. They couldn't quite get through NSX. Rocco will be fancying his chances of making a mistake then to the inside. Goes Matthew 40 on Sweet Crown 19. And now NSX Rocco trying to fall through on the inside line. They are still running absolutely level. Heading into turn 6, the inside line is with Sweet Crown. Matty 40 is hung out to dry around the outside, but he doesn't give it up though. Still, wheel to wheel in turn 7. Sweet Crown will just about stay in front though. Matty 40 is throwing everything at him, but still, the MP Motorsports car does not reflect that. Further down the road, they got Zanima and Miami making a great start to the inside line. Then round the outside, look Zanima can't quite get through it. Now that 10 can diving down there, Stone overtaking spot usually. Round goes the pair of them then, spearing into the wall, and damage for the pair of them then. I think they got away without getting out of the race, but that was a major incident down there at turn 10. The yellows do clear themselves. Will still keep going in the race further down the road then. Sweet Crown again attacking Nolan, who has to yield the place. This time he covers the inside line. Wise to the threat of Altogether. Nolan runs way down the hairband, and then Matt gets alongside again, squirreling through the exit. The rear tires trying to break away from him, but he's still got himself down the inside and looking for a way through. Then they fight for the apex of turn 4. Then round the outside, Nolan runs out wide, and Matt will easily get back underneath. Then Rocco as well trying to look to follow through, can't quite do it. Up the road then, Lando came under attack from Toxic, who has the penalty early in the race. Then he'll try to get through on Lando, couldn't quite manage it. Still sitting way on the back of the race leaders and on the slower compound. He's going to be feeling good about his chances, but how much could that penalty cost him? Diving to the inside, and that's Lando, who looks to the pit lane but gets a penalty on the inside line. That will set him back as well, so his undercut chances have been somewhat nullified. Into the pits as well in the last lap went Dylan, and Gary gets a penalty for speeding as well on that undercut. Has fallen away for Excel. Lando, regardless of where it comes out, those penalties are going to severely work against him. And the closing laps then further up the order. Nolan continuing to slap here, continuing to come under pressure. This time it's NSX Rocco, who pulls alongside at turn 2. Will easily get through before the hairband, or will he? Nolan's got good straight line speed up and around the outside, but he's stuck out there. Can't get through. Does he have better traction through the exit? Rocco will power back clear and maintain P7. Nolan back in the DRS though, chasing him down here at turn 4. Can he win a way through on the inside line here? He gets alongside, bringing very it's no tight entry line though, and now Rocco back around the outside, more momentum through the exit, has his nose ahead heading through turn 5, now to turn 6, he has a lay into the corner, and eventually Altogether Nolan has to yield the place. So through goes NSX Rocco from the front. Expect the leaders potentially to be coming in. Campbell looks towards it. Verstappen will follow him, and Toxic, of course, will be forced. And it's Stinger who'll run around the outside and take the race lead away. He's still got pressure from behind though. Into the pit lane and come these other three classic faces that are Campbell, Verstappen, they both get penalties. Unbelievably. Now Larkin, you said, is having a really good shot, and no one as well getting a penalty. Everyone's struggling so much to get it contained, to get it controlled, heading into that pit lane entry. And so that's really going to affect things out in this race. Verstappen, then you can see going through the pit lane, he is going to get held, I think, behind Campbell. No, he actually jumps Campbell going through the pit lane. Verstappen up in front, but the penalty is going to cost these guys dear. Now Lando running around the outside, heading through turn 1. He is going to get in front of these guys by a good margin as well. 3-second penalty though, that is going to be an awful lot to try and claw back then. But Lando now does at the moment have the net really lead, but how much can he hold on to it? Miami now on this miraculous comeback drive, finding Rocco. They make contact once and twice, heading to turn 6. Then Rocco trying to claim the inside line, forcing his way through Miami, and has to get out of it and had to yield it because Rocco was ever feisty. Looking to hold on to that 4th place. How long? Well, these soft runners stay out, then they will be losing time through the undercut, but the super softs through the end are going to really carry them forward. Toxic will look to make up for it, but he's also got a penalty to his name. But with all of the penalties being picked up throughout the order going into the pit lane, That continuously swing it back in his favour. Miami still attacking Rocco. Nose to tail. Headed through turn 1, that DRS is going to be opening for the HWE. Chases down Rocco, the Trident, who gives up the inside line, relinquishes it now. Miami gets up on the long side, heading into turn 3, will work his way through. Get himself up in a 4th position. Rocco having a slowly behind. Sofian went through the pit lane and managed to keep it clean. If he can stay with this pack in front, he might be able to actually salvage something from it. Up at the front, Lando hasn't broke away in the way he wanted to. Verstappen is still with him, but Larkin is in this train as well. Without a penalty, Larkin looks to be the driver's seat, and if he can stay in that DRS range for the remainder of the race, and it's still early days, early doors here in Austria in the feature race. And what could be a championship defining race, and I'm toxic at the moment. Even though he does have that penalty to his name, he's doing what he needs to do at the moment, and he'll be a threat further down the lane to fight for some of the top positions out on the track as well. He's going to continue to press on and find any which advantage he can possibly muster up. So Toxic will hold on at the front of the race. Sweet Crown actually staying with him quite nicely though, and without a penalty, he's also a real threat. And that's where Matthew 40's there as well, and those guys comfortably fully clear of the chasing pack then. Rocco behind has really suffered in the last few laps, and Miami has cleared him and is still wholly on in front. Rocco is getting up towards him, but cannot quite draw near enough then. Verstappen, fast lap of the race. He is now got XL Lando lined up with fresher tires. The Dams is now feeling the pressure. So here comes QVR Verstappen with DRS over. Lando's going to have to try and cover him off. Heading into the hairpin, he's straight over to the right hand side. Looking almost against the grass. The white line, and Verstappen will still attack. Running around the outside of turn 3. Lando will force him out wide onto the curb then. And 3 goes. Lando will hold on to the lead. DRS for neither. But Lando will hold on to it. Campbell wasn't near enough. He's not going to get DRS. Larkin behind is still keeping up, which realistically is all the HWE driver needs to do. The Uni Virtuosi attacking high-tech big slave in the rear end. Oh, QVR Campbell just a deal to hold on to the car and keep himself on the island for now. But he is going to be really struggling, I suspect, on those tires if he's not too careful. He can't spin him up too much more. Toxic still leads to the front there. Sweet Crown just about on its pace, but Matt 240 also looking really threatening. And behind the MP, and we'll try and find a way through then. The Charu has a good amount of DRS, but cannot quite get within range of a diving launch. Heading at turn 3. Has to be behind. Runs very deep as well to the apex. Will not get through. Verstappen on the attack again. Has XL Lando lined up. They head through turn 1. Lando is much more confident, but he runs wide to the exit. He'll surely have a warning, and now he'll have pressure on him to go along with that. Verstappen then running up around the outside there. He tries to dummy him, but Lando is glued to that white line. Runs back out wide there. Verstappen trying to clear him through the entry. Again, Lando running him out wide. Better contact between them. DRS will be with the dance, but momentum will be with the high tech. They run side by side, going down and straight into turn 4. Lando trying to get his nose in front then. Heading into the corner. Verstappen is stuck on the outside line. Can he get underneath to the exit? He tries to, cannot get enough momentum though. And still, Lando holds on. It's been a sterling defense. Verstappen is throwing everything at him. Cannot get through it now. Cabo looking ever threatening. The pole sitter will certainly look for any which way to get through then. Still these guys with no corner cutting penalties. Lando is losing out to these guys, but he is still looking to try and fight them all off out there on the track. Still you can see Rocco keeping pace with XL Miami. Those two running decently, but not quite as quickly as the 3 drivers in front then. And so Rocco will look to try and capitalise on that then. With DRS now moving up towards XL Miami. Didn't turn 3, he's going to dive it late now. Can he get alongside through the apex? He runs wide. And Miami has no way to fight back then. Through it goes. And it's X Rocco moving up in a 4th place. Verstappen is going to try the same move again to the outside of Lando, who draw alongside this time ahead though, heading into the braking zone then. Lando dives late to the inside line. Better wheel to wheel stop between him for Campbell. Gets alongside Verstappen with DRS to his name. Will try and fight back then. Verstappen with no DRS. The drag hurting him, and now to the inside line goes KVR Campbell. Trying to get through and alongside, and he's got the inner line at turn 4. Will run his way through on the exit. And Verstappen goes from attack to defence, from trying to gain a position now to losing it. Back in 8th place, and he's got to rethink his possibilities. Still Larkin is hanging on to these guys, avoiding a penalty just about then. Heading through turn 6, if he keeps it clean, he's looking really solid out there on the road. But lads are holding on there. Verstappen taking Campbell, sorry, taking the initiative. And moving into P7 now as we get into the second half of the race. Still, the soft starters are content to just hang on in there at the front and continue to pump out those flying laps. Verstappen though looks threatening. He wants to try and strike back against QVR Campbell. He runs right in the rear wing of the Univirtuosi up the road. Miami fading back to Rocco. Rocco with a great switchback. These guys are in a championship battle. They're going to go all out now. And now heading down the straight here. Turn 4. They are side by side again. Miami trying to run round the outside. Rocco will tuck in as now Campbell trying to save Steven Verstappen and lands a penalty over on the inside line. Verstappen trying to get up to Campbell. Can't quite. But Campbell with DRS now is going to go on the attack again. Moves up to the outside line now. Draws level and dabs it. Moving across on him and out. Goes Lando. Spearing across the track. Then Verstappen goes through. Takes advantage to the inside of turn 5 then. We'll have that wider line at turn 6 then. Campbell dives it back to the inside line though. But Verstappen doesn't give it up then. Stuck on the outside line. He has to get up eventually. But Lando rounds again. Coming together with QVR Campbell and spearing off the track then, and what sums up which has been an absolute miserable season. He has won 3 feature races, but ultimately success hasn't come apart from that, and he slips to 13th now in the running order. That promotes Campbell to the head of the train. Verstappen chasing him down, and still Lord hanging on in there and letting the guys in front of him fight it out. Then he is in such a good place at the moment. Verstappen now with DRS on the back of Campbell. Campbell may well just about have enough in hand though. Heading up the hill in a turn 3. Verstappen will threaten him then, and Campbell covering the inside line. So to the outside, Verstappen is going to go. Now, can he get a run through the exit? Then Campbell covering off again. Parking the car on Avex, not allowing that switchback to come through. But Verstappen is still going to try and chase him down. Heading into turn 4, the inside line covered again. Verstappen looks to the right, back up to the left. He's forced Campbell in deep then. And now Verstappen gets alongside just the side pod there. Can he get swimming round the outside of turn 6 then? Bringing incredibly late. Can he go the long way round here? Verstappen trying to get through Campbell. Campbell will squeeze him out through the exit. And will just about hold on. Verstappen though is still right there with him. Larkin as well, squeezing and applying that pressure. But still the Univirtuosi holds firm. The high tech and HWA are still chasing him down all the time. Out there at the moment, out there on the track. Now, out of turn 10, it's a great run for Verstappen, less over Campbell. Campbell is going to be on the threat again to the inside line. Verstappen goes in, draws alongside and ahead. Heading into turn 1, but Campbell is not going to be done with just yet. He'll have DRS, but doesn't get a great exit. Verstappen, conversely, it's phenomenal in turn 1 and trying to keep it up and down to stay in front of him. But Campbell is going to go back on the attack, round the outside, then breaking very, very late. And at turn 3, can he run round the outside there? Campbell swimming around will have DRS. Now it is massive over QVR Campbell. Gets in front, and in the end, Verstappen can only yield it, can only let it go. So Campbell to the front of the train. What fighting between these guys. They've went at it, but this is helping Toxic. It's helping Sweet Crown, who's still keeping up with him in terms of the penalties. Toxic though will dive in. Will they emerge? All the battling is Josh throughout the race. Josh, that's going to be in a turn 3 then, as Toxic, another driver, to get a speeding penalty through that pit lane. Yellows have to clear themselves. A full course yellow. I'm not sure which one it is though. Is it a full safety car? I think it's a VSC. I think it is going to be a virtual safety car out there on the road, so everyone is going to slow down the race, being somewhat neutralised. Actually, it might be a full safety car. I'm trying to maybe look for some boards, get a good indication, because obviously it's not coming up on my screen. But so far they haven't went green, and this is a major benefit to Toxic, who's now promoted up to the front then. And that Christmas seems to have come early for Toxic MML, who runs up front then in the train. And so he runs up then, and he has been essentially saved. It is, I believe, I'm still trying to get a good look at that display over on the right hand side of the circuit. But Toxic certainly gained it on those tyres as well. He is going to be major gaining. And Sweet Crown, he's isolated. I think it is a full safety car actually, the length that it has for out then. And so Sweet Crown is just going to guide it background, try to get to the pit lane. Actually, it was just a VSC, and so Sweet Crown's losing out, so Toxic has been thrust right into this race, and all of a sudden you said it was away. This race looked to be in the hands of Larkin, or even Sweet Crown, but now things have been turned completely on their heads. Toxic does have 8 seconds of penalties, and so Larkin's still within range, but fresh super soft tires, that cannot be understated. Matt now with a penalty going into the pit lane. The penalties have been racked up all the way heading in to the pits here in Austria. Sweet Crown will emerge, but the timing of that VSC just didn't work in his favour at all. And now Toxic promoted to the race lead, and now he is looking towards a championship at last. He has had to take it this time. For the first time ever, he's been taken to the final rounds. But ultimately, he's just proved to be too much for the rest of the field over the course of the entire season. Larkin as well, and Sweet Crown, the only guys who can really take this race away from him. Sweet Crown actually is 8 seconds behind. Toxic has 8 seconds of penalties. Sweet Crown was matching his pace earlier, but he's got traffic as well to contend with in front of him. So getting to matching Toxic's pace is going to be supremely difficult as well. It's all over. Rocco was 5 seconds behind or so, and now it's right on him. That is the power of that VSC, which has swung this race completely towards Toxic. Now, with just over 5 laps to go, he can just bring it home. Unless he gets another penalty, then things will really be up against him. But so far, he is just content to just see it out all the way to the checkered flag at the end of the day. So now heading towards the last 5 laps further down the order. Then Lando and Gary battling. Gary getting all crossed up. Heading in at turn 4. These guys battling, but ultimately neither of them have had the race that they were quite after then. Up at the front though, Verstappen is still hounding the rear wing of QVR Campbell, and this time looking for a way through. Campbell's held back for a few laps, but now QVR Verstappen finds the gap on the inside lane. It's going to be squeezed all the way to the inner lane. The apex, but Verstappen looking for a way through. He can just force his way through. Coming in at turn 3, we'll get in front now. DRS no active for the chaser behind the Univirtuosi. Now Campbell chasing down Verstappen. Is he going to go up to the outside line then? Try to run brave on the brakes. Round the outside goes Campbell. Can he get it stopped? Can he go all the way round in turn 4? They're still fighting for the exit then. And at turn 5, they rub wheels, fighting for the apex again. These two long-term rivals are locked together into turn 6 and still in the turn 7 then. To the inside, Campbell will hold on to the place, but Verstappen gets a really nice exit, running around the outside, tucks into the slipstream, try to run back and counter to the outside of turn 9 then. Is he going to be brave? Campbell will cover it up, runs way though, and Verstappen to the inside lane, and a turn 10. Wow, that's unbelievable. Through goes Verstappen. Campbell to the inside line, but the DRS is with the high tech. He'll pull back in front now. Sweet Crown attacking Larkin. Both these guys have the measure of the two guys in front of penalties, and Campbell with a penalty himself. That is going to cost him the win. Sweet Crown gets up and alongside Excel Larkin, and now Campbell to the outside of QVR Verstappen trying to break late and go brave up and around the outside then. Through goes Sweet Crown, cuts in front of Larkin. Now DRS for Sweet Crown, and he's within penalty range of Toxic. If he can get past these guys, he can be in a smart choice. He's running around the outside of Verstappen, but he's going to get boxed in there. Verstappen trying to hold the inside line, but Sweet Crown has superior grip on the outer line. Campbell nearly goes around it, and Verstappen moving out wide, forcing Sweet Crown towards the grass. Sweet Crown to the inside of turn 6, gets Verstappen, looks to Campbell as well, who runs around the outside and to the inside. Sweet Crown, who's driven unbelievably here today, wheel to wheel with Campbell to the 8th turn 8. Campbell just about gets his nose back in front. He's doing his teammate a major favour here in this race. Sweet Crown again to the outside, Verstappen trying to challenge on the inside. That one doesn't quite come through, and now Sweet Crown has QVR Campbell lined up to the inside line, and ultimately Campbell is unable to hold him back now. Through goes Sweet Crown 19. He's not out of this just yet, but he needs a sensational run. Campbell will do everything to fight back against him though, and Verstappen and Larkin are both right there as well. So now QVR Campbell going out to the outside, heading into the air, but can he clear the MP Motorsport car? He backs out to get DRS again, but Sweetground's gonna squeeze him out through the exit. Verstappen trying to get alongside Campbell. Campbell with the DRS again, trying to get up to the rear wing of Sweetground again. Sweetground, I think, may just have enough in hand. Campbell dives late to the inside lane. Can he get it stopped? He runs into Sweetground, runs wide, and then Verstappen gets alongside the end. BD run parallel here, turn 16. Sweetground has been restricted here to the outside. Verstappen doesn't have the grip now. Larkin tries to get alongside Rocco and Matt. They're almost with them as well. What an epic fight for P2 on the road. And Toxic has essentially been gifted this win up in the front of the field. Can now just control it for one or for two more laps then in the penultimate race. He's not dominating feature races and often in this fashion, but he is clearing away up at the front. Sweetground now has QVR Campbell lined up, and this time he's the one to hold back with that DRS and bait his time. Wait, try and fight back later then. Coming in at turn one, then Campbell's a little bit out of shape. Then some Sweetground is going to run it now up towards the outside lane, into the air, but he's going to get squeezed by Campbell. But Sweetground is running late around the outside. Campbell tries to fight back, but he doesn't have the grip. I think Verstappen ran into the back of the Univirtuoso, so Sweetground at last will punch away, and this time he'll have enough to hold off the offences. Oh, QVR Campbell, so Sweetground at a P2 then can convert it, but he needs to make over a second on Toxic, unless it's going to be to be. Rocco moves past Excel Larkin in the background already. He has 6 seconds of penalties to cost him, and as it stands right now, doesn't look like he is going to be able to make up that gap then. So Sweetground out to the front. He has P2 in hand, and he is catching Toxic. He has been outstanding in this race and has a real shot at P4 in the standings after this, but so far it looks like it's just going to be too little too late. Toxic now could just drive all the way to the checkered flag out there. He has been, and this will also be a champions lap. Toxic MML, you cannot fault this man. He's had to work for this one, much more so than last season. There's been so many drivers with a pace to come through, but ultimately Toxic has managed to shut them all out, to see them all off, and now just has a few more corners away, and he will wrap up this championship. Sweetground is chasing him down. He may yet win this race. He's got 8 hits to make up. Toxic can just drive this as a parade lap then, with now coming up with 4 corners to go. Here is the first of them then, sweeping through. He is now well clear in this race. Could just drive it to the checkered flag, that a penalty will spoil maybe what could have been more of a dramatic moment. But he is away and gone. Now Toxic weaving around. He knows he has the championship now firmly in his hands. And now, with just 1 corner to go, Toxic MML will wrap up the F2 championship for season 4. He crosses in P1 and will win the day. He will just about take home in the feature race. Sweetground gave it a great effort, ultimately comes up short by 3/4 of a second. Larkin snatches the final podium spot for Verstappen P4, Rocco 5th, Campbell 6th, Matt 7th. Nolan will cross, actually Miami jumps everyone. He gets out of P7, not far off P5 either, with a penalty-free race. Matt's P8, Nolan P9, Sofian gets the final top 10 slot. Then it's going to be Dylan, Zerima, Ted Can, Gary. Lando's already seen out the race, and that of course worked against him, and the incident with Campbell is what put paid to that. But that is going to be it for the final feature race of the season. Toxic wins again. And that is just the mark of a champion. He's had to work for this one. This was still only be, I believe, his 3rd or I think it's his 4th victory of the season from 19 races. He has been pressed, but ultimately everything they threw at him, he had an answer to, and then some. Miami gets driver of the day then. Good comeback drive from the rear of the field. And now we will get to ratify these results ahead of what was yet another brilliant race out there. And now we just have to do it one final time. So now, lifting the trophy is going to be the Univirtuosi of Toxic MML. Sweetground, you have to say, arguably deserved this victory. The VSC really held him back in the end, but he does get P2 on the road. P3 will go the way of XL Larkin, whose consistency throughout the season has been certainly something to behold. As now we work our way through the results then. Toxic wins its Sweet Crown P2, Larkin in third position then. QVR Verstappen does end up P4 in that epic battle out there on the track. Rocco is 5th. Campbell P6 then, one extra time penalty cost him dearly. Miami 7th from Matthew 40 in 8th place, and no one is fan riding at the top 10. Zerma Tidcan, Dylan, Gary and Lando around at the finishers. Josh unfortunately wasn't able to quite get that race done, and now just one more to go. 19 races it has been for the season, and for me, 2 seasons covering this division. It has been epic. I've absolutely loved covering it and commentating over the last 2 seasons of LOE Formula 2 racing. And so now we just prepare ourselves for one more race, and how fitting it is going to be ending in rainy conditions. We saw these last time out in France, and now they are going to be present for the sprint race then. We're going to end under the clouds with the heavens raining on the drivers, and now we prepare ourselves for one more time. And so we are now raring to go then. 15 seconds, the clock will count down. I'm not sure, because it is very light rated. Of course, these F2 cars do not fit intermediate tyres, and so we're going to see potentially maybe even slicks. We saw slicks in the last wet race that we had, so let's see what we have here as we wait now for everyone to get readied up for the last race of LOE Formula 2. Let's look at the tyre choices. It's going to be wet tyres on then for this Austrian race. Matty 40 wrapped up the reverse grid pole position. He will lead away from Miami and Campbell, who after missed opportunities really in the last race will be eager to impress yet again. And it's further down the order. Sweet Crown with that P2. Larkin with P3. I think Larkin will hold on to 4th in the standings at the moment. He will actually be giving himself an outside chance of P3 because Campbell was outscored by him. But Campbell is ahead on the grid, and so he can do what he wants. Sofian out of the session, unfortunately. And so unless we get back in quickly, we'll not be able to partake in this final race. So Matthew 40 from the front. He will get it underway then. He will lead away. We've seen him at the front of a lot of reverse grids throughout this season. Currently, I think he's pretty much a lock for P6 in the standings, I believe. He just needs to see it out then for one last race. I'll take it. Safine does get back in the session. I'll take one last drink break then for the final race of the season. Matt T40 on pole. Miami alongside of 14 laps. Let's make the last race of the season a good one then. Matt from the front. We'll see if he holds on to that race lead. So now we head round to the grid. Here the Red Bull Ring for the final time. The last time we'll see these 16 drivers out on track together. They've given us so much joy throughout the season. And now we're going to see them in action one final time. Toxic, your champion for the season. He can just go out there and have fun then. Nothing is for putting him under pressure. He has now the weights off his shoulders. So Matt now from the front. At the back of the field, Lando will be the last driver to get himself onto the grid. And now the drivers prepare themselves for the final sprint race of the F2 season. So Matt now from the front of the grid. The next on Miami alongside him. Now as we build up to 5 red lights. And we're away very quickly here for the final sprint race and the 20th race of the calendar then. From the front there, Matthew 40 under pressure from Miami already. It looks the inside line in a turn 1 then. Going for the race lead here. Matthew 40 holds him up and around the inside and just holds on to the race lead. You can see him all squirming, trying to fight for traction to the exit of turn 1. But Matt leads him at Miami, piling the pressure on then and running up and around the outside in a turn 3 then. Campbell is up the inside line. Oh, they shall be made they're all going to struggle for traction. Campbell nearly goes around, as does Matt with the front of Miami, running clean around the outside to the front then. You can see them all jostling, jogging further down the order. Sweet Crown now, getting up to the outside line, and he's at a stellar start to this race. The Sweet Crown then, running around the outside. Matt T40 will get squeezed off the road, and Campbell gets up on the long side, and Bennett over, see that hold it back though, and Sweet Crown still has the inner line. Heading in, turn 6, then Campbell trying to work his way around the outside. Can he get himself stuck then? He's still behind though. Heading into turn 7, he still gives it everything he's got, trying to run the long way round the yellows back in the order. That's Toxic round in the final race. Toxic to the back of the field, and he'll be counting his lucky stars that he already has the championship won. And you sense it is just going to be a parade to the end then, further down the order. Zainaba to the inside of XL there, runs wide though through turn 9, and Dylan gets back underneath, snatches that place up then. Ten Can and Josh also battling away then, you can see them all running in formation, running in line. Sweet Crown inspired though tonight. Now, Matt T40 is right within his sights then, and he gets a bit of a wiggle on there in the exit of turn 1. We've seen him struggling early in the race, and now Sweet Crown running to the outside line, and it's going to get squeezed up against the grass then. Level, nothing to choose between them on the brakes, but Sweet Crown is brave around the outside. Can he make traction through the exit then? Matt almost going around then, and now Sweet Crown going around then. Now Campbell up to the outside line, draws alongside the Sharu car, they run level in a turn 4 then. Campbell stuck on the outside, breaks a little bit later though, trying to run the long way around, get a bit of traction through the exit. They almost make contact again, and Campbell way is going to give Rocco an opportunity to get himself underneath. Now run round the outside, breaks incredible, he goes into the back of Anti-40, and round goes Rocco in the final race. That will not go his way, and now surely you say he's probably out of contention for that 4th position in the standings then. Sweet Crown looks in a proud seat for that then. He has got XL Miami lined up. It could have been even a double victory for him tonight then. He is chasing down as the rain looks to be easing off actually out down the circuit very, very slightly. And so see if it holds off, if anyone's going to be ready to go to the slicks then. And the closing laps of the race, but Miami still leads the way then. First lap of the race. Pools clear for the moment for Verstappen. Is lining up QVR Campbell, who just about covers them all for the time being then. Heading through turn 1, you can see Matt then under the pressure, then Campbell behind him, then early penalty for Lando, and a season that he'll want to put it behind him, no doubt about that. Then up the road you can see them all running in line, then Campbell is attacking Matt T40, looks to the inside line, is going to dive it down the inside. Can he get it stopped? He can. Matt though running around the outside, just about holding on to it then. They go for the exit, but Campbell can't get alongside it now for Verstappen with momentum, running the long way round in a turn 4, nearly gets swayed by Campbell, who now runs very, very late, draws alongside Matt, better contact though, over on the inside line, and Campbell again snapping the rear wheels of the car. He looks to be really struggling, not at home in these wet conditions so far, and still sits on the rear wing of the Dutchman. Matt T40 holds P3 for the moment then. The front two still breaking away. Miami looks ever comfortable though in these wet conditions, running clear at the front then. Lando running wide in the background then, but he's also been able to pull clear of XL Dylan and behind, who cannot quite get up to him then. Verstappen also looks incredibly quick there. Larkin as well going with him, sitting on the rear wing of the high-tech, looking for a way through then. Up at the front, Miami still leads then, holding on at the front of the race. Verstappen pressuring Campbell all the way then, on to the 4th lap of the final race of the season. And still QVR Verstappen on the rear wing of QVR Campbell, heading through turn 1 then. Who's got the better race? It looks like Verstappen's got a good run then, on the rear wing. Can Campbell move over to the inside to cover him off? Then Verstappen's got a bit of a toe, no DRS to help him out though. He still chases down Campbell. Campbell, who feels he needs to cover that inside line then, not allowing any way through for Verstappen behind then. The crew is powering off turn 3 again. Campbell with very little grip to the exit, and still Verstappen chasing him, but I think he's going to be too far away. In a turn 4 still, Campbell moving over to the inside and covering it all off there, but wait, he goes there now. Verstappen gets up and alongside, then they're going to run side by side. They're in turn 5. Two old rivals again going in as they've done all the way throughout the night. But now Verstappen, he's stuck on the outside this time. Campbell will surely just run him out of road there, but Verstappen with amazing momentum then in a turn 7 has his nose in front. This will be incredible. He pulls it off then, and Campbell can hold it back. Verstappen, brilliant at the forward. Campbell though will be furious, and he fights back straight away, going to the inside line, and Nate Jewell again for turn 9 in on the inside. Campbell trying to work his way through. Verstappen stuck out there, getting back then a long way round turn 10. Will get himself in front, doing the A's, and then his nose ahead, and just that it, because Campbell's alongside Larkin now to the inside of the pair of them, trying to get through the turn 1, backs off now. Campbell on the inside line, sweeping round this. Verstappen will get a hold of that fourth place. We're running wide in, and a turn 1, and he comes together with Campbell then. Larkin going round in the background. Lando was collected as well. Now Dylan has been promoted. He moves past Campbell. Now looks to the inside of QVR. Verstappen holds on to the place. Somehow still fourth, as now out wide in the background. That's Zanima. So that's Campbell running off the road. Then will draw back to Gary up behind him, but he's let into 8 in his Campbell then being cut off, and Verstappen somehow has not lost anything, but it does isolate these top 3. Miami, Sweetground, Matty and 40. They are now free to cruise clear at the front of this race, and unless they have major incidents, they look pretty comfortable up at the head of the field as it stands at the moment. Still Sweet Crown will hassle XL Miami, who holds him back for the time being. Matthew 40 staying with these guys. Verstappen 4 seconds back now, and he's going to have to really work to get back in this now from the front of the race. And further down the order, Safine's moved past Larkin. Larkin, nothing he could have done then, just an instant passenger on that. Then he bows out. Then Toxic will chase him down, his former championship rival from season 3. Up the road, we still got fighting. Tin Can on Gary moving up in the 9th place. Then Tin Can, of course, a race winner this season, trying to hold back the charging Dark Dams behind him, but Josh has got a good run as well then. Trying to get up to XL Gary to the inside line. It looks Gary will cover it off though, and do enough to hold it back heading in turn 1 up the road then. Campbell attacking Lando. Bit of a squad for the pair of them then, as they look for trap positional fighting then. Campbell getting up to Lando. Lando not willing to cover the inside line, to the inside line. The Univirtuosi is going to go, and Lando, I think with wing damage, stuck on the outside, and through goes QVR. Campbell then moving up in a 7th place. Lando then gets a great exit, and is straight up to the outside line. Campbell looked to try and cover it up, then around he goes. Campbell spearing off then, touched by XL Lando. And now dropping back down the field in an incident-packed last race then. Back goes Campbell, through goes Nolan, up the field goes NSX. Rocco is now further up then. Josh now attacking Garrett to the inside of turn 6, low and a wheel rubbing, going through the apex then, but in turn 7 they're still side by side then. On the outside is Gary, on the inside is Josh. On that tire run through 7, Gary will hold on, going red, then will hold on to that P9 for the moment. Josh though is ever threatening in a turn 9. He looks to the inside line, but will think better of it then, will not quite lodge for a way through just yet. On to lap 7, and Miami still leads. Sweet Crown applying the pressure, running right there with him at the moment, but hasn't quite got through just yet. It's merely just sat there waiting for opportunities to open themselves up. Tin Can now on Lando, who slips back through the order now, having been picked up damage in numerous incidents. He is now going to have Gary, his teammate, right up behind him. George as well looking for a way through. Lando is waiting at turn 1 then, off the track on the left hand side, and Gary and Josh will easily slow their way through then. And moving up at a P8 and P9 then. Josh will load a straight line speed, but he isn't quite near enough to Garrett just yet. Miami still leads it out there on track then. Bit of a slide though heading in a turn forward. Sweet Crown is right there with him. Miami will hold him back for now then, but he'll be looking for any which way to get through that. Sweet Crown still holding on P2 then. We got yellows further down the order. I think it was Safine going off then out the hairpin. Lark will get alongside. Campbell is pitted for super soft tyres, and we do know that the rain has seemed to be easing slightly out there, but will they have any grip out there? You can see him squirming away. Will these tyres come back into play though and bring him into contention? But he's got over 30 seconds to make up on the pack in front of him. But the rain is definitely easing. The trap grip definitely coming down, but at the moment it seems like he does, at the very least, doesn't have any significant advantage. Coming out the corners, you can see that Tars just will not quite cooperate with him, and he has to sit him aside behind for now. Verstappen fast lap of the race. He's not out this just yet, because he's been chasing down this lead trio, getting up to him. They stop battling. Who knows what could happen to the inside cinema now on XL Dylan, fighting through the exit, and it's still level. Now Dylan has tugged behind her, because Zanima has got to one of his best showings of the season. Now with a P5 then. Dylan chasing him down to the inside line maybe. That does not quite come through then. Rocco moving past Lando, who continues, who just helplessly falls through the order Now Rocco will easily slot down the inside line, and there's nothing Lando can do to hold him back with all that damage. On that damn score, up the road, Gary making a mistake. Now Josh, after laps and laps of staring in his rear wing, now runs round the outside, and Gary just cannot fight back then. Now Lando and Rocco, that one doesn't come through either. Josh goes wide up front then. Gary tries to get through, can't quite manage it though. But the raid easing off to such an extent, as Larkin is also betting the bullet. He's going in. Still Campbell not really quicker at this stage in the cars in front, but in the next few laps, surely that will change. Sweet Crowd on Miami's rear end. Sweet Crowd, and actually Miami's diving to the pit lane. They both dive in. Is this going to work though? Can they make up a potential pit stop back gap? Still, Campbell, let's try the gap. He almost goes wide. There's still not much grip then. Out on those super soft tyres, up the road, Rocco and Gary. Gary's decided to dive in. It's busy in there. A contrast now. In strategy calls, we got the brave souls that decide to go in, get some super softs on. But still, it seems like it's a time loss. Still, the wets appear to be quicker, but that will change. I think this may well be one lap too early then. Is anyone going to try and stay out to the checkered flag? You said the wets are going to really fall off. The Matthew 40 promoted to a considerable race lead. 7 drivers still out there at the moment on those wet compounded tyres. At Miami, former race leader is going to emerge behind Sophia, and we'll get a good update, a bit of a good reference on their relative pace. Sophia will hold on there for the moment. Just over 2 seconds is the gap between them. And we'll see though, you can see the tyre scrubbing against the track surface. It's not ready yet, it simply isn't. The advantage of the wets is still coming through. Even though it's not raining, the track is still quite damp out then. But we'll see if that's going to evolve, if things are going to change in these final laps at the moment. Matthew 40 still leads the way. XL's out of a chasing down, chased down I should say, by XL Dylan behind it. Still Matt is content to stay out. Looks like all these guys are willing to not dive in. I think Josh actually might well be coming into the pit lane. And now things are beginning to equalise. I think now the track is getting drier. So this, if you want to come in, this may well be the perfect time. But I'm not sure if it's going to be able to make up that difference, because pit stops are so much longer in Formula 2 cars. The pit gap is going to be so significant. It's only going to be in the last few laps really, where the wets will start to overheat, start to lose grip. And then everyone will work their way up towards them. Yellow's back in the road, and that's Gary going round. Gary not being able to hot muster up those super soft tyres. And what has been not the season he was after. He will now, I assume, dive towards the pit lane then. I get some new tyres or maybe even a fresh front wing. Looking up the front end, still the gap of Gary to Sophia, and it's hovering at just under 3 seconds. These four, well, I think Matt can stay out and still get into the race lead as it stands there, but he doesn't need to at the moment then. Ted can now getting himself round the outside of Rocco. Rocco has to tug it behind. He's going to try and dive back. Yes, he is incredibly little on the brakes on those soft tyres, running down the inside. Rocco trying to get through it. Ted can is going to have to slow down, going right into the wall. Ted can going in at turn 3. Will Spearall then talks and will get through into the top 10 then on a recovery drive in this race after going off back on the first lap. He runs himself and at P10 at the moment. Still the race leaders look to stay in. Then it's Dylan that's going to come in then. So XL Dylan diving to the pit lane, but Miami still not really gaining on Sophia, and we've got 4 laps to go in this race. Can he make up the difference? Is anyone going to try and take the wets all the way to the end? They'll overheat, the grip will deteriorate, but it might not be over just yet. They're up the road then. Gary I think is going round again, coming in at turn 1. And really, you cannot say the season's just not worked against him now. Dylan will emerge from that pit lane. He will be on fresh tyres. He'll have a pace advantage over some of these guys. Will emerge down there in 7th place. There's Lando picks up a penalty. We've seen quite a number of penalties at both the races here tonight. Keep it between those 2 white lines. Pretty difficult now for Stabbin on that continuous charge. This time he moves past. Sweet Crowd 19 has to get through then. And Sweet Crowd slots it behind for the moment. QBR for Stabbin. Holds on in front, and then Sweet Crowd nearly goes around, just about able to save it though. We'll keep hold of 6th place at the moment out there on the circuit, but slots out the 3rd out of the super soft runner. Still at the front then. Miami has begun to reel in Sophia ever so slightly, but it's still only ever so slightly. And 3 laps to go. I think that Matt has enough in hand here, but he's going to dive to the pit lane anyway. So Matt coming in Zanima, is he going to be brave and stay out then? He is! So Zanima is going for broke here in the final race, and can he take those tires to the end then? He comes through with 3 to go for the back of the order. I think that's Rocco that's going around. Rocco spinning off then. Down in the P10, Toxic up to P9 as Matt went in. So 2 drivers left on the west then. Safian, who's worked himself into a good position. How much grip can he keep in these wets? Miami now is decisively really ahead and getting up towards him. Gap 1.3 at the moment, and XL Miami looking for a way through. Verstappen fast lap in the race is chasing down HWA as well. Out there on the track then, up the road there, you can see that. I think that was the car going wide, and Safian then dropping it through the exit. And now Matthew 40 right there with him then, coming through the exit. He does get in front of XL Miami, but will that strategy call work against him here? DRS enabled, crossover point, now official. The Slicks conclusively the fastest tyre, but Zanima may have enough in hand. He's 18 seconds in front with just over 2 laps to go. The guys behind will need a miracle. Matthew 40 down the inside line. Safian tries to get back underneath. Of course he doesn't have the grip, but he's been brave and he's worked himself into a good position. Another car around. 10 can spearing off in what's turned into a nightmare race. Gary will go through him by the 15th, but no points for either of them. This last race not going the way either of them would have hoped for. Zanima still leads 17 seconds in front with 2 laps to go. Is there any way he gets reeled in? Lando's now going off. Again, slipping back to the order. Miami, we're near, so Safian will get through. Up into that 3rd place. Safian will try and stay in front, and he may be able to hold back. He won't hold back for Verstappen and Sweet Crowd, surely. But there is a gap to Dylan behind. And well, these Slicks are quicker. Matthew 40 is going to need nearly 9 seconds a lap to reel in XL Zanima. I think that's too much. I personally think Zanima has pulled a master stroke here. Now the front. He's not had a good season as Zanima, but so far he is driving superbly. Now QVR Verstappen moves towards Safian, gets himself up in a 4th place then, moving through. Safian has to tug it behind then, and now Verstappen chasing down Miami. He slowly but surely worked his way through it now. Has the podium in sight. Can he chase that down? Out on the track. Zanima is 17 seconds ahead. He's got this race in the bag, I have to say. This is phenomenal on the wet tires, on a track that is still drying, but the grip still holds. Even though the track looks pretty much bone dry, 17 seconds. Barring a spin, barring a catastrophic drop off in pace. He has this race when he's only lost a second to mount this last lap. He simply drove away. Now, Lando dropping back, slipping behind Campbell and behind Larkin, who's also looking to try and line up Campbell. Lando stuck on the inside lane looking for a way through, and tugs him behind, will cannot get through. Larkin will maybe try and get up to Campbell. Chasing him down lane today, but a penalty will get him in front. Anyway, Campbell sliding wide though. Going in at turn 4 to the inside line. Larkin looks to the inside line. Larkin will go. Getting himself up into 12th place there, but no real points on offer then. And I think both these guys know it. They're just fighting for pride from the front. No XL Zanima still conclusively out in front. The gap up at 15 seconds. Toxic fast lap of the race. Verstappen looking to deny. Miami lane of day is going to dive it down the inside. Then Miami trying to hold on to this then. For the podium, they're going to battle them. Still to the exit. Verstappen coming through on the inside line. Has the RS to see it through now. But Miami's not going to get through then with the arrow in at turn 4 then. Could surely just work his way through. Miami is going to go daringly on the brakes, but he's going to run wide, and Verstappen will snatch P3 right at death. Can drive that home, but Zanima, the wet tires have begun to fall away from on the last lap, but it's not going to be enough. 12 seconds in hand, and XL Zanima is going to claim then with just 2 corners to go. He will nurse the tires to the end, and XL Zanima round turn 10 for the 14th and final time in the race. So the final time in the season wins the final race. What a drive from Zanima to the front. Matthew 40 will have to settle for second on this occasion then, not able to come through. Verstappen gets P3 in the end from a charge against Miami. Didn't quite come through. Toxic worked through his way through past Safian, who with a puncture now as well has to slip back then. The wet tires just wearing, graining in his last few laps. He will drop down the order. To run through the rest of the results, Sweet Crown is P5, Dylan P6, Josh P7, Toxic P8, Safian P9, Rocco in 10th place then, Nolan P11, Larkin P12, Campbell, Lando, Gary Tenkan will see out the order for the final race. And now, as we wait for the last few drivers to come over the line, first it will be Larkin, chased down by QVR Campbell. They cross 12th and 13th. Lando will be the last driver to cross in for this Formula 2 season with half a front wing. What could have been for him then with 3 victories, but not much other success then. Gary's just crossed in front of him. Lando will come through then. And that is it for League of Europe Formula 2. And I can only say it has been an utter privilege. So Edinburgh gets the driver of the day then. What a drive it was throughout the race. But that is going to be it. There is your final winner then. Zerma with the final race victory of the season. Congratulations though to Tokes MML for the League of Europe Formula 2 Season 4 Championship. 3 in a row. Can anyone else stop it? But that is it for me in terms of LOE Formula 2. It has been an absolute privilege. I've loved the last 2 seasons covering what has been 28 rounds of the championship. It will draw to a close. But Zerma wins it from Matthew 42nd in the final race. Verstappen on the podium last. And now, with the season behind us now, we can look forward to Season 5 in 2 weeks' time. I won't be there, but I'm sure there will be a great commentator in to replace me as well. But with everything said and done for the season here in LOE Formula 2, it has been an absolute pleasure all the way through. And with everything said and done, I've been Daniel Hogarth here in LOE Formula 2, and until next time, we'll see you later.